Okay, so the idea here is I'm going to mount the diesel heater underneath the passenger seat. There's actually quite a bit of space. This is a 2 kilowatt diesel heater, and overall dimensions, it'll live under the seat, under this height. The seat sits up here, so we should clear it no problem. This is just a cheap one that I got on an auction for a couple bucks. Don't even know if it works. This is more for proof of concept, but it should work. Plan would be to drill through the floor, mount it to the floor. The exhaust pipe runs pretty close to here. The exhaust for a diesel heater would come out here, so it should clear the exhaust, and the fuel line run it up to the tank, as well as the intake, run it up to somewhere safe, and the exhaust run it out the back. So I've seen several of these 3rd gen 4runners that run from the factory a small heater core under here with a fan. That's what this circle's for. This carpet's out of a 99, so my 97 did not have the under seat heater for the rear seats, so it's not an issue for me. If you wanted to do this, you would have to delete the under seat heater core. So this is the rubber base that comes on the diesel heater to help seal against the sheet metal. The floor is a little angled. My plan is to put this right here, kind of line up the corners about like that. So since there's a gap here, I want to try to make this as flat as possible. So I'm going to borrow one of my children, have them hold a block of wood about here, and then I'm just going to go underneath with a body hammer, tap the floor up, just so we get a nice seal on here and we're not getting any exhaust smells coming through. Okay, we've gone ahead and hammered the floor up a little bit, mainly right in this area right here, so that I'm gonna have a nice flat spot to sit against. These diesel heaters do come with a plate to screw down to the floor. I'm simply going to use this as a template. Somebody, as I mentioned, it's from an auction, so somebody had already cut this down. I'm just going to use it as a template for the floor, and then I will cut this and install it from underneath as just a backing whenever I bolt it all together. So I got the holes drilled. These are just 1/4 inch. The bolts on the diesel heater M6, 1/4 inch works fine. So the 4 mounting holes, the hole for the fuel line, and the intake and exhaust. So if you look, you can see the heat shield is still blocking it. I'm just going to take a marker, kind of mark roughly where the heat shield is, so I know how much I need to cut. Under the truck, there's a heat shield that needs to be removed, or a piece of it trimmed. It's got a bolt here, a bolt here, and it's going to need to be trimmed right in this area here for the exhaust and the intake of the diesel heater to come through. So I've gone ahead and trimmed the heat shield to clear the exhaust and the intake on the diesel heater. I just went ahead with a pair of tin snips, worked my way around that. And then to prevent rattling or breaking of the part on the rough road, I just took a pair of vice grips, grabbed the sheet metal, and just tweaked it down to put a little flange. Puts a lot of strength back into the steel. And this stuff is, I don't know what gauge it is, it's 0.2 thin. It bends super easy. Just go ahead and work that lip down, puts the strength back. Alright, so I've gone ahead and put the seat back in it just to show how much space you have under the seat. Plenty of room. Should be just fine, and shouldn't have any issue pulling air from around the seat. Here's the diesel heater bolted in with the heat shield clearance. Should be plenty to clear the intake and the exhaust pipes without issue. So this is a different diesel heater than I originally started this with. It's been just about a year since I started playing with this. It got hot here in Arizona and I had no interest in doing a diesel heater. So we're back to some cooler weather. Figured I might as well finish it. So the 2K that I started with is right here. And this is a 5K in here now. You can see there's a slight difference in size. 2K is a little bit smaller. But I'll show you what the 5K looks like under the seat. It fits fine. So this thing is all wired up to my battery. It's going to be kind of hard. This is kind of a hard screen to see. But we just go ahead. It's already been, the oil's already been primed. I don't know if I can even show you that. Just turn it on. H3 is like the mid setting. Fans come on. And it'll take a minute to get started up. If you have ever messed with these, they kind of ramp up speed and then the pump will start clicking. And then you can hear the igniter and the fuel start to burn. So the diesel heater is now ignited. It's starting to ramp up. The pump is clicking. You can hear it. And I'm already starting to get some warmth out of it. These tend to build up heat. The longer they run, they get hotter. And if you have a malfunction, I've actually had one of these malfunction in a semi. It would literally burn you just putting your hand like this. So that's not my goal. I just want a little bit of warm air. It's going to continue to ramp up and then it'll level out. And I imagine in a small space like this, I'll be running this on level 1, maybe level 2. Probably even have to have a window open. Okay, so I have this thing set on level 6. It's been maybe 3 minutes since I stopped filming the last clip, and this thing is pumping out heat. I'd say, I don't know, it burns my hand. I can't keep it there too long. So I'm going to turn down the settle to level 1 and it'll slow down, quiet up a little bit. Okay, on setting 1, it's quieted up a lot and the heat is not as intense. It's still very warm. It's still cooling down from being on 6, but the fan speed has come down, so it's not pushing as much hot air. With this, I feel it'd just be a nice ambient noise while I'm in here sleeping. So even with the bigger diesel heater, the 5 kilowatt, you can see it still clears under the seat. No issues. Here it is from the back. If you were running your back seat with people, it might intrude on their foot space a little bit. My back seats usually aren't even in the truck. So I usually use this truck solo or just one other person. Alright, so for the fuel system, I went ahead and I built a 1 gallon tank. This is just, I want to say 4x4 box tube aluminum. It was like 1/8 inch wall. This is a neck, a weld-on neck, available from Amazon. And for the vent, I used a vent tube from a Harbor Freight Apache storage box. It has a little O-ring under there which will seal it up so I don't get dust while on the trail. And for feeding it, I went ahead with, this is an 827 aluminum bung with a pipe to AN3, a 36-inch stainless steel AN3 line, some stainless holding clamps. It goes around and underneath the body to a bulkhead fitting. From there, it's 3/16 stainless steel brake line all the way up to the pump, which I'll take you underneath and show you. Alright, there's the 3/16 stainless line to a piece of rubber fuel hose that comes with the diesel heater. I have the pump screwed into the side of the frame rail, and I've read that you need to have the pump angled, so it's angled a little bit. And that fuel line goes up into the heater. I have not yet ran the exhaust and the intake pipe. This is the intake right there, and the exhaust is back here. I'm having an idea of actually teeing the exhaust into my factory exhaust pipe, so I'm going to play with that idea a little bit. And then the fuel pump wiring, I just went ahead, drilled a hole in the floor with a grommet, and that runs up to the pump, or to the diesel heater. So the diesel heater came with this little mount for the control unit, the little box right there. And I want it back here. It has these pull-out cup holders that I believe are useless. They don't really hold much of anything. So what I'm planning to do, I'm just going to take my grinder and cut this handle off of here, and then I'm just going to mount this directly to the face of the cup holder, and I'll just rivet it on, and then I'll run the wiring down from the heater up into the console, and it'll sit right here. And I'll leave a little extra length so that if I want to pull it up to where I'm sleeping up here, I can, so it's easier to access. Okay, so I got the little bracket that holds the controller mounted, so I'll be able to just reach up here and adjust it as needed. And I also do have a little key fob remote for it if I just want to leave that there and adjust it while I'm laying down or from outside the truck before I crawl in for the night. I also have yet to run this into the console itself. Still deciding how I want to do it, since the cord comes out here. Not really a convenient way to do it that I've thought of yet, but it's pretty basic. I just hold the button and that will start the heater. I can't find my thermometer to measure it, but it is hotter than I like, so I'll have to have some windows down while it's running to be more comfortable. Okay, so just one last kind of look under here. I'm pretty much planning to run a flex pipe from here, weld a bung into the exhaust system, so that my muffler will be my actual muffler. And if it causes any kind of issue, you know, with exhaust from here working its way in, which I don't think will be an issue since it's after the catalytic converter. If it is, then I'll modify it from there and keep trying different things. The intake pipe, I'm gonna order some metal tube, and I'm gonna run that up the frame rail into the engine bay up by where my air box is for my snorkel. That way it's above the water. This truck does see water crossings often. Alright, I have the interior back in the truck, so we'll take one last look. It's pretty discreetly mounted. Focus. There we go. You can see it in there. So it fits nice. So I appreciate everybody taking the time to watch. And we'll catch you on the next video. Have a good day.